Hey, what's up? It's Paul from Guitar World.
And Alan from Guitar World.
And we're here live bringing to you Cooking with Sound.
Let's cook.
So today here at Cooking with Sound, we're going to be checking out the Rev Amplification D20 amplifier. Now this is a head that's 20 watt all tube amplifier. It's in the lunchbox style. It's totally over-engineered, and it's the first amplifier that has built-in 2 notes torpedo embedded technology, which means that it comes with a built-in reactive load, which means if it doesn't detect a cabinet when you plug it in, it automatically goes into a reactive load so you don't harm the amp. And it also has 6 built-in virtual cabinets. And you can even get a whole bunch of more virtual cabinets if you run it MIDI as well. But I'm talking way ahead of this. The first thing we want to talk about, Al, is the fact that the coolest thing was getting this. Like, look at this. We're going to do a little bit of unboxing because usually you don't get attractive packaging such as this, right?
It's majestic.
Majestic. Thank you, Al. So here we are, the D20. So we're going to unbox this wonderful piece of gear. And let's open it up. So the first thing you look at is, look at that, a certificate of authenticity.
It's right official.
There. It's official. You got a really sophisticated piece of kit over here. And then, of course, as I mentioned before, here is sort of a little thing that tells you about that you have these virtual cabinets and you can access a free download and whatnot to do so much more with this D20 amplifier from 2 Notes. Does the virtual cabinet bit. Power cord, USB, stickers, because everyone loves stickers,
Love
right?
stickers.
I love stickers. Okay. And then
What is this?
this is interesting. I'm going to guess it's mint.
It looks like an Altoids tin.
It does look like an Altoids. So Rev Amplification mints. Let's dig in.
Oh,
Well, look at that. It is Rev polish cloth. Keep that amplifier looking super shiny.
so many surprises so far.
Yes. So let's pop this open. Just really well done. Looks great. Look at that. A little flip. A flip on that. Just pull that out. Now, as you can tell, this amplifier is, as I said, lunchbox style. So I love, of course, the fact this is cool. Flip down, really sturdy carrying handle. As you can see, it's a very straightforward amplifier for most guitarists, with, of course, with a few twists, which is cool. So you have your normal gain control, 3-band EQ, and your volume. Of course, on the gain, this pops up, so if you want to get even more crunch out of it, you can. Over here, it's an attenuated amp, so you can go from the full 20 watts, which is very loud, or bump it down to 4 watts for home, so you don't disrupt your neighbors.
Nice.
Or your cats and dogs, that kind of thing. Pre and post switch. There's also, here's a level control. Now this is where the magic kind of happens. There's a headphone out. And here are the virtual cabinets that I mentioned before. There are 6 that you can choose from. And this is great for recording or just going straight out to the board. So these are all emulated. And if you look at sort of the literature, it'll tell you what each setting does as far as the cabinet. And they all sound fantastic.
Cool. So just to be clear, you could plug this in without connecting a cabinet to it and it won't blow up.
Exactly. Detects whether a cabinet is not plugged in and automatically goes into the reactive load. And then of course it saves your amp from being harmed. And then of course then you have a whole bunch of other features to play with as far as virtual cabinets and sound. It really is great.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How come all amps don't do that?
Well, because this amp happened to be designed by, I believe, some Nashville guitarists who wanted to create an amplifier that was gig-worthy, travel-worthy, and I'm assuming great for a pedal platform, which is what I had mentioned before. This is a great, solid amp that's over-engineered for pedals. Gives you a really great bass tone. We're going to hear that in a little bit. The one thing to note, being that I've heard this before, is that this amp does not have a lot of gain. So don't think that you're getting like this high gain, metal beast. It's not that at all. It really is designed for guitarists who want to be able to get the most out of using all their time-based modulation and overdrive and distortion and fuzz effects through an amp that is somewhat clean. But we'll get to hear that shortly as me and Alan kind of dig in. With one pedal, you'll get to hear that.
Cool.
Well, let's flip it on over. Take a quick look on the back end, right?
Yeah. So far, it looks pretty straightforward. We have the internal load or speaker switch.
Yep, that's right. You can switch that on.
That's what we were just talking about.
Yep.
And then you have 8 ohm or 4 ohm.
That's if you're going out to a guitar cabinet, and that's the thing. Even though it has all this technology built in for it being a recording kind of amplifier, it's really designed to be meant to be played through a cabinet. That's what they want you to do with this D20 amplifier. So obviously you have the option when you're using a cabinet being it switched to a 4 or 8 ohm load.
Cool. Speaker out.
That's the speaker out. A buffered FX loop over here.
And now this is where some of the magic happens.
Correct. Right. That's the amp emulation out, if I'm correct.
Yeah, and it says the 2-note logo right there.
There you go.
So they're doing the cab simulation.
And then you also have the USB over here as well, and it comes with that, with the amplifier as well. What's also very cool, and you won't find this on many amps, is they give you a really great self-bias test over here. So if you want to, you can self-bias your amp, and it provides you an easy means to get to really tweak your own amp the way you bias the amp the way you want it to be biased.
So you could replace the tubes in here and not have it serviced per se. You could just use these.
Well, you can bias the tubes yourself, right? It does come with 2 6V6 tubes and 2 12AX7 tubes, and of course there's the MIDI in and out. And the other thing to mention is I know that, as I mentioned before, it has 6 virtual cabinets built in, but if you run it through MIDI, you have the option of running almost up to 128 different, I believe, cabinets and different ways of sound. So there's so much to this amp. And like I said, it's really over-engineered and supposed to be super user-friendly for guitar players.
So far, it doesn't look that complicated just looking at it, but it does have all these sort of hidden features if you dig in.
It's a real Swiss Army knife of an amp. There's so much to it. You can do with it. But all this talk really means nothing. Really what you want is to hear this amp through a pedal. And of course we have one of Rev's pedal over here, a G2 pedal, which is very much an overdrive type of pedal, but we'll hear the amp first and then we'll run through that, and so you get an idea of what this amp sounds like.
Great, let's crank it up.
So let's begin. Let's check out the amp. As I said before, it's just a really clean pedal platform type of amp. Right now I have it set in that fashion, as you can see just by the controls. This is what my guitar sounds like, just pretty much straight plugged in, no effect. So pretty neutral, really a great start. Where I start to get grit is if I pop over here the gain, that's where the amount of gain starts to show. So here it has a little bit of teeth. A little bit of bottom end. And so I think depending on your speaker combination or whatever you're using, you can kind of tailor the sound towards that. Or if you're looking for a little more bottom end and of course a little more of that gain. Or if you like it really clean, I mean, even if you dial it up, you can see all the way up, it just gets a little bass here, a little fuller. But if you pull it back, it's a real nice thing. But then, here, check this out. With the gain popped out, this is where you start to get that extra layer of grit right there. So just about there, you can hear that. It's like a nice little overdriven. And if I turn it up, this is about the most amount of gain you'll get on this amp. Okay. So as you turn up the gain, you hear a little bit more body.
Sounds warm.
Yeah, and it's, yeah, exactly. It's a very warm type of gain. So let's go midway about here. Hear what this sounds like. And now let's add the pedal, which I think, as we said before, this is more of a overdriven character compared to their other pedals,
Okay.
which are more metal sounding. This is more, even though you can get some good gain out of this. So here we are with the Rev G2. So that's a nice. And if I turn up the gain on this, you get a little more. Even more gain. Let me bring it back down. And then now let's hear that when I pop the gain on this side now. Yes. There you go. There we have all that dynamics.
Love it.
Great cutting, like lead sound, or even great rhythm sound. So you really get a lot of dynamics out of this amp, and especially when you pair it with the right pedal.
It kind of sounds like an audio hug.
Yeah, yes, an audio hug. I like that. Let's have you like dial in, and I'll start moving some of the controls.
Love to check it
See
out.
what happens. So this is pretty much a clean sound without the gain control popped.
Yeah.
And then I'll move it up a little bit, and you can. Yeah. And here it is popped. All the way up.
Nice.
And now, let me pop that down, and then here, let's turn on the rev pedal. Go ahead.
Yeah.
That's a nice smooth sound, and that's without the gain pop. Now let me pull it back a bit, and I'll pop the gain. Now here you're going to get all this hair dynamics.
Yeah. Quiet too for all that.
Yeah. And now, of course, I can like turn up, I can move the EQ, but the EQ is pretty nice where it's set.
Yeah.
Just a nice, all together, just a really nice warm gain sound.
Kind of hits you in the chest.
Yeah.
Not quite
Yeah.
piercing.
And there's a lot of great note definition too. Like I can imagine, if we paired that with a more of like a, right now I have it pretty cranked here, but put like a really great, heavy metal or like metal pedal with a lot of gain, you can hear like you can do those really big suspended chords and they sound really crisp and clean. Like try that.
sustains
Nice.
for days.
Sustains for days. And there you have it.
That's great. What a great platform.
Yep. So as I mentioned before, Al, the one thing it has is the built-in virtual cabinet Sims over here, which can be accessed from the front panel. So we decided we'd let you hear what that sounds like. So this is what it's going to sound like through front of house or probably direct to recording and all that kind of stuff.
A little less bass. Maybe that's a smaller cabinet.
Sounds like a small cabinet sound. Different mic, obviously.
Nice.
Nice room sound in that one. And another one here. Very real tight sound on that one, right?
It's more in your face.
And then I think this is the last one. Here we go.
A lot of reverb on that. Sounds like you're in a big hall or something.
Yeah. So there you go. And obviously all that stuff can be tweaked and you can set it up the way you want it. And if you want even more, that's available.
And you said you could switch between these with MIDI?
Yep. You can get up to, I believe, 128 more different sounds. I guess cabinet sims and things like that via MIDI.
Wow.
And using obviously on your computer, be able to tweak that.
I could definitely hear the difference between the cabinets.
Yeah. So all in all, this is just a great amplifier for using pedals, and I highly recommend it. It's a great, just an all around, and it's small enough to travel. And of course, if you want to record with it, it's all there for you. The tone is in your pedal board and your hands, and you're ready to go.
Awesome.
Great job, Rev. We dig it. Definitely dig it. Yeah. Thanks for watching Cooking with Sound, and join us next time.